Well, hey there, it's Catherine from CatherinePolar.com. Let's take a look at the Peking Pets Bundle. The Peking Pets Bundle has a patterned paper pack that goes along with it. And with our patterned paper packs, you get a built-in color palette. So this color scheme, look at those mustaches. That's my favorite sheet. Well, I don't know. Those glasses are pretty fun too. And the grid, and not to mention these diamonds and the plaid. It's all fantastic. And the paw prints. You can't go wrong with this paper pack. But anyway, this is a spa collection color palette. So these are muted, sophisticated tones. They're great for masculine cards and cards with sophistication. They were made to coordinate with our Peking Pets stamp set, coordinating dies, our Pawsome dies, our pet specs, and then our My Bad dies, as well as the one-liner stamp set. So all of these products are available as a bundle, or you can purchase them a la carte. Just remember, when you purchase the bundle, you get a little discount, so that's always nice. Always love a discount. So these Peking pets have been really popular, and I'm sure you can see why with these card samples. The little pet heads, the dogs and the cats, you can peek them out of so many things, and I've just had a ton of fun with them. So we have several different canine and several different feline friends in this set, and then we have some fun little hats for them. So we have a Santa hat and a party hat. Could not resist putting a unicorn horn in there. We have a graduation cap and a top hat, and the little, what are those things called? The headband. There it is with the springy little hearts. And then with the 2 word on a line dies, the Pawsome and the I love you, those go great with these fun little pets. And then once I have all these die cuts, I like to stamp and die cut a whole bunch of images at once, and then I can put them in a little baggie, and I have them for any time I want to add them to a card. So let's dive in and make a few cards with these fun products. I'm going to start with an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock, cut in half, folded in half, and this fabulous plaid background paper. Now I want to dress this pet up a little bit, so I'm stamping the heart headband, and then I'm taking the glasses. I'm kind of off screen here a little bit, sorry about that. And I just took the pet specs, the glasses, and I dabbed them straight onto my ink pad to color them, and then they're going to perfectly match my patterned paper. I'm going to use the little Boston Terrier, add him onto the Pawsome. I inked that up with Over Coffee ink, and then put the little headband on, and then from the one-liner stamp set, I just took a strip of cardstock that I used direct to paper with Skylight, just like I did with the little Pet Specs glasses. Just color it with a swipe of your ink pad. I stamped my greeting in icing on the cake on that now Skylight piece of cardstock. I added my patterned paper and the sentiment and the puppy all to a 4 by 5 1/4 piece of cardstock, and I'm just layering that right on top of my card front, and I'm all done with the first card. So the second one, I'm going to have some more layering going on here. So I'm using my Poppin Party patterned paper pack. I'm going to use some glasses from the Pet Specs. I'm going to use Pet. I'm going to use a word die cut, and I'm also using my Skyscape's mini cover plate dies. I cut the frame with the middle layer die right in the center of it, so then it cut out a frame. You can also just use the outer layer by itself and cut a whole layer. And then the next side, that middle size, I just cut a whole layer out of that. And then the smallest one I cut out of white. So I have a fun frame out of that plaid patterned paper, and then a layer, and then a white layer. So then I thought it would be fun to use the Sorry word die with a coordinating sentiment, and I'm just going to stamp that right on the bottom, sending hugs your way with all that jazz. And then I decided I wanted some really fun, funky glasses for this pet. So I'm using my Wow Embossing Trio. This is our Aquatini. This was created to coordinate with our Aquatini ink pad. So you have the embossing powder, the embossing glitter, and then just the regular glitter, which does not have any embossing powder in it. So you're going to want to use glue when you use that to adhere it to your project. But the embossing powder and the embossing glitter are both embossing powders. So I'm just using my mixed media brush, which is a little bottle full of embossing fluid, and I'm just using that little brush to brush it onto the glasses. And then if you do half at a time, you can just dip it right into your little container of embossing glitter. So it's really easy to do it this way. And then using your heat tool, just heat it until that powder or that glitter turns liquidy, and then you're gonna have some really fun, funky, glittery glasses. Is there anything better than that? Look how cute that looks on that little pet. So Sorry, sending hugs your way with that little puppy and the cute little glittery glasses. I love this. So I'm just going to add some glue to this layer, add it to the plaid, and then I kind of had a decision to make here. Not yet though. Let's add this little guy right over that one-liner. I love how the Peking Pets coordinates with the one-liners stamp set, because you can just do the sentiment, pop a pet right on top of it, and you've got a really cute and fun card. Who's not going to smile when they get this in the mail? I mean, come on. So adorable. So add these glasses on there and then do the Sorry. And I really like doing die cuts sometimes out of white on white. I know it kind of blends in a little bit, but I think it gives a really fun effect, that tone on tone. And then this one is, the S is kind of hanging off a little bit onto that plaid. And then I'm going to add this frame right over it. And you guys know me, I'm really tempted to make a shaker card here, but I resisted the urge. You totally could make a shaker card here. But I was trying to decide if I wanted to do the frame straight and the layers straight inside, or if I wanted to do one cattywampus. What would you do? Leave me a note and let me know if you would do the frames, one just inlaid right inside the other, or would you put one on straight and then do the other one at an angle. The star paper is also from the Poppin Party Patterned Paper Pack, and all the colors are coordinating together, and it's super fun. So then I'm going to take some foam tape so this layer will pop up on my card. Always gives a little bit of fun dimension when you do that. And then here we go. Cockeyed, cattywampus, straight, crooked. Which one? I went with the crooked. This is a fun, funky card, and I thought the angle was fun and funky too. So Sorry, hugs headed your way. So next up, we're going to make a Christmas card. I love that we added a Santa hat into this stamp set. I think Peking Pets with a Santa hat is absolutely irresistible. So I'm going to use this Making Seasons Bright stamp set, and I kind of going back and forth between party and spa colors. So on this one, I'm back with the spa colors. It's going to give me a more sophisticated, even though this is fun and funky with the pets, the color combination is more sophisticated and elegant and kind of old-fashioned Christmas to me. And the green tea and the eucalyptus and the spruce are going to be fantastic. So I took the Believe stamp. I got this idea from Karen Baker. She did a video using, I think, like 17 inks on one card, just stamping one sentiment over and over and over all the way down the card. I'm not going to stamp my sentiment as many times as she did, but we'll stamp it a few, starting with the lightest color, and then I'm going to stamp it twice. And when you stamp an image more than once, it's going to darken that color just a little bit every time you stamp it. So then I get a little bit darker shade of green tea that way. And then I'm just playing with where my cardstock needs to be with the Misty and where I want to stamp the next Believe. So if you noticed, I did not ink my stamp up again. I just moved the cardstock up a little bit so that a little more of the Believe was showing up above, and stamped it. And now I have a really light shade of green tea. And so now I'm going back down with the cardstock, and I'm using, I think this next color is eucalyptus, and I'm going to stamp it twice. One of the beauties of the Misty stamping tool, you can stamp multiple times in the exact same place as long as you don't move your cardstock. I should be using magnets here to hold my cardstock in place, but I didn't, and I think I did an okay job. I didn't mess up, so I was happy about that. So the next color here is spruce. And then I'm moving it down again and stamping without re-inking. So this is kind of cool. It has like really light green tea, eucalyptus, spruce, and then really light spruce. I think that looks really cool. And then I'm using the layered tags die. I'm pretty sure this is the middle size. The layered tags dies comes in 3 sizes in one set of dies, and I just die cut it with the middle size. And then I can't resist this lab. You guys know we have a black lab named Eli, and he is my buddy. I love that dog so much. But I'm gonna color this one chocolate. I love chocolate labs too. I just don't have one, and it's easier. I have an easier time coloring brown pets rather than black pets. So we're just going for brown. I'm using a blender pen. Basically, a blender pen is a clear marker. So you can see I'm just picking color up from the lid of my ink pad, and I'm coloring with it onto my stamped image. And then when the blender pen first hits the cardstock, it's going to be a lot darker. And then as you color, the color comes out of the tip and onto your cardstock and will end up running clear. So when you want to change colors and you want to do a different color with your blender pen, you can use the same blender pen with different colors of ink. Just make sure you scribble it out on scratch paper. Make sure it's clear before you go into the next color. And then I'm just doing some highlighting. I am using watercolor cardstock on this one. You can notice that I'm going over and over and over the same spots. And if you did that on regular cardstock, the blender pen is wet, so it would end up pilling your paper. So watercolor cardstock for something like this is going to be your best bet. I'm just adding shading around the ears and around his snout and around the sides of his face to give him a little bit of a 3D look. Isn't he adorable? And then I'm going to color the Santa hat. So I have my red ink pad, and I'm just going to give an all over color, and then I'm going to go back in and continue darkening up the sides to make it look a little bit 3D. Another tip also when coloring like this is to go to a darker color of ink. So with the dog, maybe I started with Over Coffee, which is a medium brown, and then maybe I added some highlights with icing on the cake. Don't be afraid to try other colors for shading and highlights as well. So for this hat, I used rouge, and I could darken it with peppermint scrub, which is a darker kind of brick red. You can also use a neutral. You try Blackjack, which is our very, very dark gray, or even Midnight ink. So I'm just adding a little bit more shading here with Midnight, and I think it looks pretty good. So for the fur part of the Santa hat, this is where some serious fun comes in. I'm going to use this mixed media brush again, and I'm just going to fill in where the fur is. And then I'm going to add sparkling snow embossing glitter. It's a really nice white with glitter in it, so it's going to be fantastic for the holidays. You're going to want to pick up a jar of this because you're going to use it on so many different projects, but I love it on Santa hats for the fur. It's so adorable. Wow Embossing Powder and Glitter has an anti-static agent built into it, so be sure to keep the powders and the glitters in the jars that they come from, because those have the static removed from them as well. If you take them out and put them into a new container, it will pick up the static from your container, and then the powder will stick to places that you don't want it to on your project. I did have some of that issue with this project because after I colored my hat, it was still a tiny bit wet when I added my embossing glitter. So I just took a paintbrush and just kind of dusted off that extra embossing glitter in the hat. And then I embossed, and it looks so adorable. So let's go ahead and assemble this card. I used cookies and cream twine. So with these layered tags, you're going to want several different colors of twine. We have a good assortment in the store, and that just polishes it off with a little bow right there. add the Hipster patterned paper. Look how great this is for the holidays. I love that diamond pattern. And then the little puppy right on top of that Believe. And then we're going to add on the little Santa hat. And oh my goodness, this card is so cute. For the next card, we're going to make a birthday card. So this is the Yay Gifts stamp set. And I stamped and die cut the cluster of balloons. And again, this is watercolor cardstock. So I'm going to be able to add a whole lot of water to this image because it's watercolor cardstock and it was made to handle a lot of water. Now for these images, I could use the blender pen, but I decided I wanted to more kind of paint on. If you squeeze the water brush, there is water in the barrel. The top just screws off and then you fill it up with water. So you can squeeze it and it will let water out through your paintbrush tip. So you can squeeze it and add a good amount of water onto your image if you want, or you can go with a little bit more dry look. I recommend also having paper towels on hand so that you can control the water flow a little bit better. But I am using Flirty Fuchsia for this one balloon, and I just keep going back and forth and adding more color, and then kind of in the center I'm kind of pulling up a little bit of extra color. That's one great thing with this technique too. You can, to a certain extent, you can remove color if you put too much. I colored all of these balloons with Party Collection ink colors. So Flirty Fuchsia, Lime Ricky, Fiesta Blue, Melon Ice, Party Dress. If you click the link below, if you're watching on YouTube, it will take you to my blog. All of the supplies are listed out there with links to our shop so you can see everything. If there's something you want to add to your stash. Also on YouTube, the link list is there as well. But on the blog, you'll actually see pictures and photos of all of the products. And what's a bouquet of balloons without a pet peeking out from behind them? So I'm using this cute little puppy and we're going to color him in with the water brush. So I'm just going in darker around where the natural lines of the stamp are and just darkening that up and making it look like it has dimension. And then Be Mine for the little ears. And we'll just add this little guy behind the balloons. Who doesn't want a bouquet of balloons with a pet peeking out of it? It's so cute. So are your wheels turning? I want to know what kind of things you want to have these pets peeking out of. So many of you have shared great ideas with us on our Facebook live streams of ways to use the Peking Pets dies and stamps. I'd love to know what else you guys are thinking. You guys inspire me. So some of the things you guys have thought about, I have not thought about. So thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and ideas. So I was thinking about what sentiment I want to use. So the Yay Gift stamp set has several happy birthday sentiments in it. I didn't feel like any of them were speaking to me for this card. So then I took the Happy Birthday Many Ways stamp set and I have this simple happy birthday in just a straight font. And I'm stamping it in Wow embossing ink on black cardstock. I'm going to add white embossing powder over the top. I love a white embossed sentiment on black cardstock. I think it's so sharp. And then especially when you have a bright, colorful, cheerful card, it just really sets off really nicely. So we'll just heat set this. And the Happy Birthday Many Ways stamp set is fantastic because it has Happy Birthday in different fonts and different sizes. So you're always going to have the size that you need. So I'm just going to add that with a little foam tape. And then we need some Crater Lake sequins. Oh, well, be careful with scattering your sequins like I just did. I do stuff like that all the time. Are you with me? Are you guys, am I alone on this? I was editing a video the other day and I had a pot of glitter and I hit it with my hand and the glitter went everywhere. I edited that part out. Maybe I should have left it in. But if you spill stuff all the time, I'm with you. I'd make a mess. So anyway, Crater Lake sequins, this adorable little pet ready to party, peeking out from the balloons with his cute little party hat. It's ready to go. And I'm ready for one more card. So on a Facebook Live, I did a card. I just took the Poppin patterned paper pack. I cut a few of the patterns in rectangles or squares, and then I added them to my card front like they were presents. And then I used the put a bow on it dies, just like I'm using here, and colored them with my ink pads. So just take your ink pad, swipe it across your little die cut, and then boom, I have a lime Ricky bow that matches my patterned paper and my ink perfectly. So I have squares and rectangles for gifts, and then I have the bows to adorn them with. So I'm going to start assembling. So we'll just take some Barely Art glue. I'm going to add it to the present. First one is a square. We'll put that right in the center. And then I'll add the other presents around it. So the other square just with our Barely Art's glue straight onto the card front. And then this rectangle present, let's pop this one up. It'll give some extra dimension to the card, add a little more interest. And then I can peek a pet behind it. This time we're going to do a kitty cat. I'm going to use the Happy Birthday Many Ways stamp set again. I've chosen a long horizontal sentiment, and this is going to fit right underneath those presents, and this would be a great card for a kid, or like I said at the beginning, a kid at heart. So I'm going to take the bows and add them to the presents, and then my dilemma is where to put the bow for the cat. Do I put the bow on top of the cat's head? Do I put it on the present and then peek the pet over to the side? I don't know. What would you do? We're going to make this cat brown first, so icing on the cake, we'll just color him in. And then I'm going to use a little bit of mandarin spice there. I got this idea from our very own Erica. Make him look like a tabby cat. I'll use just a little bit of It's a Girl ink in the ears there to make them pink. And then it's time to assemble the rest of this card. I'm adding a foam tape to the kitty, and we'll have him peek out right over the top of that present. I'm going to tuck him behind the present so that he is behind it, and then we'll add that bow right to the top of his head. And then we'll take this card layer, add it to a card front, and we're all done. So we created a lot in this video. We did some techniques, we made some fun cards, we used a lot of different products, and I hope you guys are inspired. Let me know which card is your favorite and how you are inspired to use your products on your next card making project. Here's a look at a couple other cards I made. This Celebrate word block die with that graduation cap and the Peking pet on the side, and then a happy birthday card with our instant happy thanks die with the pet peeking out for birthday. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you guys have an awesome day. You're inspired, and I'll see you soon.